Morning, everybody. Haven't posted for a bit, but this is the first sunny day that we've had in weeks and weeks and weeks. And by the looks of the weather, it's probably the only sunny day we're going to have this week. It's been a cloudy, wet, miserable old weather. But I thought I'd show this. I was quite excited. If you've seen some of my past videos, I'm starting a little orchard. And in the orchard, I have my first blossom starting to bloom. Now, these trees were grafted. These trees were grafted. This here's the third spring that they're coming out into some leaf. And I wasn't really expecting. Some of them haven't hardly grew at all, and some of them are growing pretty decent. But I haven't really expected to see any blossoms for at least another 2 years. And boom, there you go. Now this here is a early variety of apple, probably going to be our earliest ripening apple. They say it's only good for about 3 or 4 days, but it's called a close, and it's only good for a few days, but it ripens really early, mid-July, 1st of August, something like that, which is really early for around here. So I'm assuming that where it's an early apple, maybe it blooms early. I don't know if there's any sense to that reasoning or not. Also, if you see, the cows are out today. Just got out yesterday, so the cows and the little calves are out running around in the field enjoying the grass. It's going to be cloudy for the next few days, whole week. In Nova Scotia, it could be for the next 3 weeks, who knows. But it's going to be nice and warm. They say chance of frost yet tonight, but after that it's going to be cloudy and warm, 25 and 10, 15 degrees in the nights. But just a little quick walk around. Rhubarb's doing great, growing fantastic. Last year I started a couple little currant bushes, which I have a red and a white currant. Red currants are pretty common. I don't see the white currants near as much, but to tell you the truth, we grow them where I work, and I think I like the white currants better than the red. Oh, this here was something kind of neat. I started my first nursery bed. This here, if you've seen the apple tree propagation one, these are the trees that I got out of my apple tree propagation so far. So that's the little crab apple that I'm going to plant out where I work, and these are the rest of the little trees. I have a little dormant eye that I put in there, so I cut the stump off because I bud grafted into that in August. Well, they were still growing, and he seems like he's growing away. The other 3 buds in the bigger trees here, I put bud grafts in also, but well, like I said, I got a lot to learn on the bud grafting yet. I was batting about 50-50, but I only think I hit about 25% on that one, because I only got 1 out of 4 to grow. So I got a bit of learning there yet, but it'll come. This here was something new that I tried. I don't really like them that much, but somebody gave them to me, so I thought I'd try to grow them. But these are horseradish. Fiery, hot little things when you grind them up. But we'll keep that a small patch. From what I read, it's kind of an invasive looking thing, so I'll keep that as a small patch. Strawberries this year I think are going to be fantastic. Didn't have a lot last year, and the few that we did have, the crows ate. But this year here, I was through, and there's blossoms. You can see some blossoms opening already, which is quite early for around here, but there's all kinds of blossoms in there that are going to open this year. So looking for a good strawberry patch. I'm going to have to make up a net. I got to take an old cat to the vet this morning, so I'm going to stop at the hardware store and see if I can't find a net to suffice in covering this piece over, because I'm going to have to keep the crows out of it. They like strawberries as much as I do, and I just soon keep them for myself. Now, as far as garden-wise, I get impatient. The peas are coming along. We put them in quite a little while ago. The peas are coming along. we got 2 strings up. I'll put probably 2 more strings up today for them to grow up on. So I'm quite pleased with those. I got impatient with the gardening, and I went out and I put a bunch of seeds in. I'm hoping I'm not too early. I don't think I am. But I got carrots and I got turnips. I got parsnips in. I have something a little new I started over here too. You guys will probably recognize what those little spiky things are. But I put in some asparagus crowns, and they all seem like they're growing away now. What were they, 2-year-old roots? They won't do much this year or next year. They say I'm not supposed to pick any next year, but in the year after that I can start harvesting them. I like asparagus. Brussels sprouts and asparagus are 2 things that I never thought I'd like, and I don't know, maybe your taste changes as you get older, but I seem to like them now. But I have still a chance of frost tonight, so I got Brussels sprouts in the house that I want to come out and transplant. I got tomatoes that I'd like to put out, but it's just a little too early yet. I'm going to hang off for another 4 or 5 days and see what the forecast is going to bring us. If the weather forecast says that it's looking warm for the next week after that, well then I'll put them out, but I'll hold off for a bit yet. But I have lettuces in here. Last year I started growing some butterheads, and I thought they were just a fantastic lettuce. So I have butterhead lettuces in here. I have summer savory in here, dill, cucumbers down on the bottom bed, and a lot of the smaller seed things. Radishes. Can't remember what's in the other one. And if you see in the hay gardening, I keep my garden covered completely in hay all the time, and then I just take a grass rake and I rake the hay off the row where I want to plant. I open it up, I plant the row. Once it comes up and gets established, I just pull the hay in next to the plant, and that's it. It really cuts down the weeding. And I hate weeding. Weeding's probably my biggest curse in the garden, so if I can get rid of the weeding, I'm a happy camper. Oh, this here was, if you buy trees and you're going to grow apple trees, pear trees, whatever, we can buy bare rootstocks here in Nova Scotia for about $18, $20 a tree, and which, if you're buying a lot of trees, can stack up and get expensive really quick. But if you see, this is my pear espalier that I put up. Look at the blossoms on my pear. I was quite impressed. I didn't expect to see it blossom. The other ones don't have as many blossoms on them. I was quite happy with that. Now, I don't have another pear here that's blossoming for cross-pollination, so I brought a few blossoms home in a bag from work from a pear tree that was blossoming, and I shook them around on these ones and rubbed them about and made a little buzzing sound and pretended I was a bumblebee for a bit, and we'll see if that has any luck in getting fruit set. I think I'm probably the biggest, miserablest, ugliest looking bumblebee that you could ever see in Mother Nature, so I don't imagine I'm a very good pollinator, but we'll give it a go, see what happens. Sorry if there's any wind. That's another thing with filming up here on the hill. We don't get many days around here that it isn't blowing like a devil. Just over the road from here, maybe 10 miles from here, Nova Scotia is putting up a big wind farm with 30-some of these massive towers. I think they're like 300-foot towers, and it's going to be probably the biggest wind generating project in Nova Scotia to date. They'll probably do more into the future, but as of now, so you can tell if the province is putting millions of dollars into putting up wind towers, we live in kind of a windy area. But if you see here, this is my garlic patch. Garlic patch is flying right along. This is probably a good example as anything of my hay gardening. This here was a piece of grass sod that had never been plowed or anything except mowed with a lawnmower for about 30 years. I spread hay out onto it, and I grew my potatoes, which I had a video of last year. I grew my potatoes into it. After I was done harvesting my potatoes, I planted my garlic in here in the fall. Now I didn't dig it up, I didn't till it, I didn't do anything with it. And I got 120 pounds, I think, of potatoes off. And if you can see, the garlic is flying right along. Now once I harvest the garlic this summer, I'll have this here as a garden piece for next year. And I'll just grow, well, whatever in it. There's the old lawnmower. That's one thing that's been a struggle in this wet weather, is to try to keep ahead of the grass a little bit. Oh, I think I'm going to need a goat. Firewood landed the other day. Another job I got to get at. The to-do list seems to be stacking up a mile around here. I have roof work I have to do. I got firewood to get done. I'll show some videos later. I put a basement underneath part of the old house here 2 years ago that I'm going to turn into a cold room. So I got a floor to dig out and a cold room to finish. I think it's going to be a fantastic cold room when it's done, though. So before it gets too long-winded, there's a shot of dandelions in Glengarry and a blue sky that we haven't seen for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we probably won't see for another week or two. I'm hoping it doesn't stay away for too long. So love the sunshine. You get a little miserable and moldy when it's cloudy and misty and rainy every day. I mean, we need the wet weather this time of year, but oh, that blue sky is so nice. It's just like a tonic. Anyway, from Glengarry, hope this wasn't too windy. Have a great one, everybody.